being here tonight. Our regular council meeting, February 18th, 2016. It's good to see everyone. If y'all would please stand and join me in invocation and pledge to the flag. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and all that you've done for us. We thank you for this opportunity to gather here tonight to conduct city business. We just pray that you would have your hand upon everything that is said and done here, that we may conduct our business in the appropriate way, that we would help to move this community forward, and that everything said and done would be a blessing and honor. Again, Lord, we just thank you for the freedoms that we enjoy here, and Lord, help us never to take those things for granted. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if we can have the roll call, please.
Mayor Lambert,
Here.
Vice Mayor Griffith, Councilmember Cagle.
Here.
Councilmember Manning,
Here.
Councilmember Story,
Here.
Interim City Manager Williams. Here. City Attorney Moore.
Alex for Elmore. We'll say again what I had mentioned before the agenda work session, that Vice Mayor Gravitt is at a function that started at 6 o'clock. He was going to try to get out of there as quickly as possible to get here for this meeting. And so hopefully he will be coming in just any time. All right, I understand from talking to Chief Reed earlier that we have a special event.
Yes, sir, Mayor, Council. We have an oath of honor and trust swearing in of a new officer. We'd like to get you performed tonight if possible.
This never gets old. This is quite a thrill for me, and it's I've said many times before, it's one of my favorite parts of the job. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. On my honor, I, David Julian Chambers, will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or the public trust. I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions. I will always uphold the Constitution and the community I serve. So help me God. Thank you, sir. Trust that everyone has had opportunity to review the items in the consent agenda. We will entertain a motion in regard to that.
Make a motion to approve it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Stoll.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. This time we will entertain communication from citizens. Should have grabbed it while I was down there. All right, sign in list. Start with those who have signed in, if any, and, all right. Go through my normal process here. If you are a resident or business owner here in the city of East Ridge and have a comment, question, or concern you'd like to bring to the council, this would be your opportunity to do so. You will have 5 minutes. And the first one on the list, the only one on the list, is Harry Mackey, 410 South St. Mark's Avenue.
Good evening.
Hello, sir.
Scared myself. My name is, Harry Mackey. Most of you know me, some don't. I'm here to represent the Optimist Club of East Ridge. And of course, I'm here to ask for something, but first I want to say thank you, because the city, the council has worked with us in everything we've tried to do around here, and it has made us successful as it can be. I've tried to make a list here. We're on our 4th year of putting on a fishing rodeo for the kids, which is totally free to them. We feed them, give them goodies, all sorts of things. We put on a 9/11 dinner for all the first responders. When Superior Creek closed, we were able to give the counselors out at Spring Creek 10 $50 gift cards to give to some of the kids in that. We put on a Christmas party with gifts for 60 Orange Grove residents. And we've got an oratorical contest scheduled for hearing impaired. And this is something you'll find interesting, because some of them have to actually sign what they're trying to say. But these are things we're doing. We've got a zone meeting that we're going to sponsor in July for the Optimist. And thanks to your help, we've been able to do a lot of this. But what we're asking is on June the 4th, we'd like to put on another fishing rodeo at Dickert Pond. And last year you allowed us the use of the Camp Jordan Arena for about 5 hours to put on a car show. And we'd like to do that on the 18th of June. If you would approve these things, we'd be very appreciative. That's all I got to ask.
Well, thank you, sir. And we just.
They're already booked.
Okay.
I would like to say one thing. Really, since I've been in office, the one that girl have done a wonderful, great job, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Absolutely.
You said we were already booked for the 18th?
Yes, booked for both of them.
You got 10 books.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I mean, we are,
The council's
Just to
okay.
clarify, right?
I'm in the Optimist Club, my apology, that's why I said we.
That's it.
We'll see if something else we can work out.
All right, just to be on the safe side, do you want to, I'll entertain a motion to.
Make a motion approved.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to allow use of the pond for the fishing rodeo on June 4th and the arena for the car show on the 18th of June. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Stoll.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. All right, do we have anyone who didn't have a chance to sign in, would still like to address the council? Yes, sir.
Matthew DeClocker, 706 Iron Lane. I want to complain again about the website. The fact that it locks you into a mobile version, it's not user-friendly, it's horrible. People who are wanting to look up East Ridge from a mobile device or a tablet have a bad experience. And I don't think that's a good first impression for anybody to have. And I was told there was a button on there somewhere to switch it. There's definitely not. I've looked everywhere, unless it's like hidden. So if we could just get it back to the old way until you can come up with something new, that'd be fine. I figured out how to trick it eventually for myself. I have to click 5 things to get it to fool it back into the web. But people shouldn't have to do that. Not everyone's going to spend the time I'm going to get it to look right. So, anyways, if somebody could do that, I'd give you $1. Just make it happen, please.
I think part of the issue may have been that when basically we ran into this at my work at the museum, where Google had a deadline for your website becoming responsive. That means you could look at it on a mobile device, and if you didn't comply, if you didn't make your website responsive, it would, when people did Google searches, it would drop you way to the bottom of the list. And so if someone went in and Googled East Ridge, you might get East Ridge, everything in the world, before you actually saw City of East Ridge listed. So I think we converted it to a responsive site, basically did the bare minimum that we could just to meet that deadline so that we don't become the 88th thing you see in a list of East Ridge Google searches.
No, that makes complete sense, and that's a legitimate answer to that problem. I understand, but then we need to make that part function better, because things are missing. Being able to know when a council meeting is or look at the agenda it's impossible to do it, or at least I haven't found an easy way to do it. It might have changed very recently. I just know that every time I see it the old way, I get aggravated and start clicking until I flip it back. The other thing I want to say is about the WWTA. I don't know if all of you were at the meeting that Tim Boyd had. There's a lot of people there, and they were all really, really concerned. And I think there's a lot of legitimate problems people have with the WWTA. Some of it seems personal, but there are issues, billing issues. We have a lot of seniors that expect to pay their bills in a certain way, in a certain time, and then when those bills don't show up, it throws them off. The issue I have all the time is that I get hit with administration fees because I forget to pay it, and then I pay it, but before they turn off my water or anything like that. But the fee, once they've charged it to you, even if they've done nothing but literally clicked one button, you're out $20. And there's a lot of, for me it's $20 lesson, but for a lot of people on fixed incomes or seniors, who are already getting that bill late, a $20 fee for doing nothing is inexcusable. And if it's because WWTA poorly negotiated their contract, I don't feel like that should be on us. And another part of the problem is that we account for 1/3 of all the WWTA customers. We're a third of them. And yet we have zero power. According from what Don Siegel told me, the 3 or 4 appointees by Hamilton County, even if all the municipalities agreed that, hey, we're being treated wrong, it's hindering our development, it's hindering our growth, we need these problems fixed, the 9 people can't overrule the 4. So you know what that means? That means our vote is worth 1/3 of one vote. If those 9 are less than 4, it means East Ridge's say is 1/3 of one person. But we are 3/4 of all their customers. We should have 4.5 votes. If it's one hookup, one vote, we should have 4.5 of 14 votes. And we have 1/3 of one. It's insane. And I know you can't fix it. And I know we gotta work with them to get things to happen. I don't know if any progress has been made.
And it's actually, as far as the voting structure, it's actually, I hesitate to use this terminology, it's actually a little worse even than how you describe it. Really, any three of the county appointees can outvote the other county appointee and all the municipal appointees together.
So we're
So
worse
it's
than third.
less than 1/3 of one vote. Because it's based on the population and the county's appointees are based on the population of Hamilton County, where the city's representatives are based on the populations of the cities.
See, and it should be based off of the non-municipality residents of Hamilton County, not the entire population.
Or those served by the WWTA, which would make that number even.
Yeah, even
smaller.
lower, yeah, absolutely.
I think that's right.
Absolutely, yeah, you're perfect. So I don't know if things have been worked out for the sewer problem in Area 10 yet, but it seems like, and I know that there's nothing that we can do, because it's all up to the Hamilton, Mayor Coppinger, and even greater, the Hamilton County Commissioners. But it just seems like in a system where we're 1/3 of all our customers, and we get less than 1/3 of one person's vote, it's just not set up fairly. There's no way that we can even negotiate with other municipalities to work together to change some of the archaic things that are holding it, that, have us handcuffed, bound to the floor.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I just walked in, but I figured out pretty quick what you were discussing here, WWTA, which is a hot button issue. And I just brought, I don't know if you've covered this or not, Mr. McKnight. Okay. I just brought the mayor up on some legislation that I've actually been working on since last summer with the realtors, dealing with WWTA. And we had a meeting yesterday in Nashville with WWTA, their attorney, Cleveland Grimes and Taylor was there, Tennessee American Water, the Realtors Department Association, etc., in making changes on the way they bill disinterested third parties who are not a party to the original contract. And that's where they're catching landlords, and that's where they're catching new tenants.
Yeah.
They refuse to turn on the water until that delinquent bill has been paid. So we're working on it. The bill passed the Business and Utility Subcommittee Tuesday. I've rolled it for 2 weeks to try to get all parties to come to the table again with some kind of compromise. So, sorry.
No, that's great.
I apologize for being late.
Thank you that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else? Yes, sir.
I'm Jim Bethune, 710 Haven Hill Drive. This is for Mr. Williams. Don't smile yet. The fire hall, would you give us an update, please? I'm getting a lot. The mayor lives at that end, Mr. Bradley lives at that end, Danny lives part of the way. Give us an update, please, if you will. I notice it's not on the agenda tonight.
Of what?
The fire hall, what?
I actually met this morning with the architect that we've hired. We went back and forth on some different plans. What it looks like right now is we're going to be able to use just about all of the old building. But we're going to take and set the station back on the piece of property further and give us more apron for the trucks to pull out on apron. Right now, we'll set it up for a drive-through bay, but we don't have access from the flea market side of that. Okay. We had a site plan done, and an estimate was about $200,000 to $250,000 just for the preparation of the site.
To get the property set?
So what we're doing is we're trying to cut out concrete, we're trying to cut out apron, we're trying to cut out parking lot, where we have to build a retaining area for that water runoff. Because of the way that property is configured, we do have to bring that property up about 8 to 9 feet in the back of that property. So there's a lot of figures in on it. It's a lot more than it looks like than just a piece of property, you know.
Have we got a price for the building yet? Even, I mean, just something close?
We have we're in the area of probably around $800,000 to $900,000 putting this back together right now. We know those costs could go up, you know, and
Is that going back to the same building?
go back to the same building, but they're adding a third bay. We are adding a third bay since we're not gonna
Yeah.
ride around it. We had originally taken that third bay off to try to gain some more property, but it wasn't feasible because we're not gonna be able to ride around the station. We're going to have a large retaining area.
I'm at that end quite a bit, eating and everything else, and all the people in there ask, and I said, I don't have a clue, but I'll find out. So,
It's not that we've been keeping it low key by no means. I promise, it's been right there on top of my plate. You know, it's,
do you have a time frame roughly? I mean, I know that stuff.
no, I don't have a time frame. We originally talked with the building inspector and our architect. The plans, of course, have gotten back a little bit because we got some changes on the plans. I got plans this morning I wasn't happy with. I anticipate changes again. This is our house that we're building, okay? It's no different from you building yours. You want it right. We want this thing
Absolutely.
exactly like we want it from now on. We know once it's built, we're not gonna be able to change things. So we want it to be the best for the guys that are down there at the time.
Have we not been close to a year without one? Has it not been?
We have
like
been.
April?
Well,
Has it been longer than that?
It's about a year right now. Yeah.
as long as, and we touched with ISO about this, as long as we are in production or we're moving forward, to have that second station open, it's fine.
Now, your ISO, that only affects the commercial part of it, right?
You can make, it
Don't have anything to do with the house.
does, well, it depends. It depends on where you are. It depends on the size of the home. If it's a large home, you know, yes, it can. But mainly it does deal with commercial. Typically, you don't see a rise in ISO from say we're a 2 now, to a 9. You'll see tremendous amount in commercial property. In residential property, typically it'll jump about 2 to 3 jumps in between before you start seeing some change in it.
But it does affect the insured as far as having a fire hall closer to us, correct?
Yeah, it's your response, and once you do it, you get a
Response time.
Yeah.
What is the response time from here to Frawley
Look at a
Road?
mile and a half side.
3 miles, I've already gauged it.
It's about a mile and a half per engine company and 3 miles per ladder.
You're talking about 5 minutes?
Could be.
Good.
We want to make sure we provide that protection. That's the whole reason we're doing this, you know. It's not something that I want, it's not something that my neighbor wants, it's something we need, you know. Those people on the other end deserve that fire protection.
I think everybody just needed an update to see where we was at and how long it was gonna be, and I knew it wasn't gonna be discussed.
We do have the engine that we ordered. I was gonna kind of leave it as a secret, but no secrets in the fire department of the city, but we have received that engine. It is in town. We have not taken possession of that fire truck yet. The reason being is we're still waiting on a couple of items that are supposed to be delivered before that, so we're kind of holding it over their head, if you would.
I guess my deal is the young man, well, not a young man, the guy that was in the creek that y'all pulled out, if we would have had the same fire hall there, we would have been there within probably, 2 minutes?
Every situation is going to be different, Jim. You know, that type of situation is not something that we hurry up and get into to begin with. You know, we have to make a decision that we're going to risk a little, save a little, risk a lot, save a lot. In a situation like that, we have to come up with a great plan before we can execute it, because we know whatever plan we come up with, we're risking lives from our side as well. So we have to definitely take that into consideration.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
We have another. All right, we will move on to communication from council members. Mr. Manning.
Nothing this time, sir.
Mr. Sewell.
I guess since we was on the fire hall, the whole thing I'd like to see the fire hall built by the end of this, I think it's this year we can. Don't wait for 2 years.
Right. Come on, Mike.
I do have one question, Mayor. See, I kicked it here. Are we still gonna, have 2 stories or gonna be one?
One story.
I know,
Big one story right now. Be adding a third bay to it. Living quarters will be a little bit different layout, give guys a little bit more room. You gotta remember, these guys got 24 hours. You get tired of seeing your spouse and your brother or sister at home, you can only imagine what these guys get. They're looking at each other 24 hours, so they give them a little bit of room down there.
You have anything else? Clear. Mr. Gable?
Yes, sir. Mike just mentioned concrete. When we built the fire hall down there, we had a problem with concrete.
We did.
So let's try not to have a double expense on that concrete.
We did have an issue with concrete last time, and that was, I don't know if that was a problem on our side or if it was a problem on the builder side. The apron, on the inside of our cord thick enough, so they'd come back and cut all that out, and we poured concrete, but we're on that. We learned a lot from our first build, I promise.
I just remember it.
You have anything else? Jackie, do you have anything
No,
else? Mr. Gray?
I apologize to everyone for being late. About 6 weeks ago, I committed to a community forum held out in East Brainerd, so that's where I was. I went to, because this is not our normally scheduled meeting and it got changed, so that's where I was. I apologize to everyone. That's all I have.
All right. Glad you're here.
Keep working on the WWTA. For that.
That's a unique situation to say the least.
All right. Well, I don't have anything at this time. So, Mike, you have anything? Okay. Actually, I take that back. I do have one thing, and that was, I got an email from Hannah Rogers with INTAS, and she offered to be of assistance any way she can with the city manager's search, and she said that she and INTAS would be more than happy to look at the resumes if we wanted them to, and they've got criteria and all the rest, and they can rank them for us just as another tool that we can use. It doesn't bind us to anything, it's just their opinion on the candidates. She said they would be more than happy to do that, and it's, of course, free of charge. This is something that they do. And she actually communicated with her Friday, I think, last week, and she said if I would mention it tonight, and if council wanted to let them do that, they'd be happy to go ahead and do that as we get started in the search process.
Should give you a time frame?
I think she said about a week, 10 days maybe, maybe not even that long. They can turn them around pretty quick.
Well, I'd be willing to go for that, because that'll give us time to go through them ourselves and then compare what they come up with.
Okay?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I believe we did this last time, and personally, I think it worked out extremely well. I would definitely be in favor of letting them vet through the resumes.
Again, it's just another tool that we can use to help us make our decision. It's not them making the decision for us. It's just a tool that, again, helps us to judge the candidates. So, if there are no objections, I will tell her to please do that. All right. That's all I have. And we have old business listed first, but I know we have some visitors with us who want to talk about item D under new business, discussion of IT issues. And if there are no objections, we'd like to go ahead and recognize them. And if they would come forward at this time.
This is D under?
It's D under new business, yes.
We have representatives today for Deep Riding, government consultants and government reviews. They have a three-phase proposal for us to upgrade our infrastructure for our network. I think you got it in front of you. Basically, phase one is a cabling issue. We have cables that run from this department to City Hall that are substandard, just because they were installed 20 years ago, and technology has changed and upgraded. Second phase is network backbone for City Hall especially. We now have VPN connections with Hamilton County Court, Hamilton County Sheriff's Department, Chattanooga City, Hamilton County 911. And we need to firewall our end of the connection so that we can't get hacked. And the third is a upgrade of our server, our network server, our file server. It's at about 78% capacity now. We've had it for about 5 years. We're about to latch on about 25 laptops for the police department. So we're going to hit the wall pretty quick. So basically, this is just give you an indication of what it's going to cost and see if the money's available now, or if we can, before July, if the reason I brought you right, so they can be on the ground floor so that they know what we're looking at. Because they have some things they have to get together before they can install it. So, this is Bo Laughlin, he's our account manager. Mark Turkon is our network engineer. A lot of you have seen Mark in the past, he's done a lot of network work for us. We've been a customer of theirs for about 17 years now. They've done us well, we've done them well. So.
It's good to have you with us tonight.
Mayor, council members, thank you. Any questions that you have for us at this point?
I have one. What would the difference be between updating the server and putting in a new?
Generally, servers are about, so the servers typically carry about a 5-year warranty life period, and that's about as long as you generally can warranty them. Our stern recommendation generally with customers, don't go with a server that's out of warranty. It's very difficult to get parts replaced, and you have a lot riding on that one system. Additionally, with it being at 78% capacity, you are right on the cusp of having some serious performance issues and potentially outages.
My question.
Microphone issue? You good? Yes,
What
sir.
is the difference? This 14,000 is updating our server.
That is purchasing a new server.
Okay.
Sorry, we said it is updating, we've been updating it to a new appliance with the current warranty.
Okay. So that is a new server.
Yes, it is.
Mr. President, you had a question?
Yeah, thank you. This is not a budgeted item in this year's budget, correct? Okay. Well, thank you for bringing it to us in advance of budget time. I don't have a problem including it in next year's budget. Will our system last until then?
I would say yes. The reason I got them on the front end is so we wouldn't have this problem come budget time when we sneak up and buy this. And the other reason was so they're aware of we're at the scope of work so that they can, because they're a large enough business, they can pre-purchase some of the stuff so that if the council decides that on July 1st, some of this stuff in. Or do it early, whichever is easiest. I realize it's $40,000.
Yeah, I just did the numbers here real quick. But again, I appreciate you coming to us. I would like to, well, most of the departments do that. Department heads come to us, and I appreciate you coming to us early and getting your name in the hat, but I'd like to wait until next year's budget.
And this also, this project pertains to the police department, City Hall, and Ford. Those are the major users. They're probably the biggest IT hog in the city police departments because we have the largest number of employees.
When you're saying the estimated cost here, what could be 10% higher, 15% higher?
That would be a question for them.
We're comfortable with the prices that we quoted. Always when you get into a project, particularly where you're pulling cabling from point A to point B, you could run into things that weren't anticipated. I wouldn't expect any more than a single-digit variance at the most.
We're fairly small footprint, but we've got cabling that we've been cobbling together for 20 years now that just needs to be graded.
That, including when we get the fire hall built today.
No, that's simply the police department. Well, I call it the police department, it's the fire police building, City Hall, and the court.
I mean, that's about the new other one, but it included it too, same price.
We got a lot of outlying areas that we could come together with the network, but we have to probably be more cost prohibitive than it is.
Yeah, I know she shook his head, yes.
No, sir, that's current infrastructure that you have today.
How much, if we had the new fire hall on it, police department down there, new building, roughly, I won't hold you to it, but roughly what would it cost to add it to it?
I have no way to estimate that, frankly, because I have no idea how many machines you'd be talking about at the location and what kind of services you'd be running there. It's not the kind of scenario where we would generally want to run a wire from this location to that location. You would typically pick up your own network connection from a vendor at that point. So, you know, it's hopefully that's factored into your building costs. If not, we'll be more than happy to help you come up with a number for that.
You have a question?
And so we are having a lot of issues within this, I know within finance. We have days where we are not even able to connect with the state. And I have to continually, I have to go to the Department of Revenue. I have to go to the comptrollers, for reports. And it's, we get there and it just, it spins and, and also with payroll, we have to be able to connect to the IRS and things, and we're having a lot of downtime.
And a website too, I can't even post to the website.
Our perspective as an outside party that's watched the network and worked with many other state and local entities, what you have here is not uncommon, right? We get bits and snatches of budgets over years. We put in what we can, we add to, we take away from, and it's just at the critical point now that it really needs to be collectively redone. It's going to save you a lot of money in the long run if we can bite the bullet, get everything clearly identified, redone, marked, and upgraded to current technologies. Additionally, as we've seen, you're doing more and more connecting to outside agencies, right? So your exposure for security problems is growing every day, and obviously bad actors out there that are creating security problems are not sitting still, right? As your infrastructure is aging, theirs is not. They're moving forward. So we would really urge you to think seriously about taking this on as soon as you can and getting things more to a level platform that will be a lot more cost effective for you to support ongoing too.
Well, sound like this can't wait till budget time.
Taking into consideration what these two that depend on it have said, I didn't realize, this is the first that I've heard that we were encountering those types of problems, so.
And I asked Diane, this is a cost that we can submit to the state too, down the road.
Can we not get grants for that? Mr. Williams, you know about what, you'd have to have, Chief Williams, you realize what we'd have to have in that new fire hall, be hooked on to?
Typically just one or two computers in there, but I don't see that need there. Mainly they're doing in-house, mainly they're doing in-house reports, and we don't need that networking if you would. You would up here more so than we would at that station.
Yeah, a firehouse would generally be pretty simplistic, and building in the cabling that's necessary to support a few computers in the building at the time of construction is a relatively minor cost.
We'll also have the police department down the road too.
I tell you what, I would like, if we can, I would like to have this on the agenda for next week as well, and that gives us a week to look at things, look at potentially how we fund it. It would be ideal if council's in agreement with.
Could we
that.
ask the gentleman there to come out and just look at the town hall right now?
They've already been here twice. So.
Okay, can they fix the town hall without going to the police department? That's the question.
I would answer that question, sir. The city hall here, this side of the building, is tied to another area of this building, which is tied over to the police department. So this campus environment is tied together. The wiring from here to the other side of the building is challenged. It's old. It needs to be cleaned up. That accounts for why this side of the building may be having a the level of difficulties that it has. And secondarily, some of the equipment on the other side of the building is quite old and needs to be upgraded. So even though we've improved internet circuit speeds, the equipment that's connecting us to the internet is many years old. And then in the police department, there's wiring issues that have just grown organically over time. Another aspect that is important is the link from here to the other side of the building will become more relied upon as this side of the building attaches to the city of Chattanooga. And the applications, we've turned up new applications in the city of Chattanooga that are being run from this side of the building. And so those problems are going to become exaggerated because we're requiring more and more communications to the other side of the building to go out to the internet.
So in summary, they're all interconnected to a degree. Could we prioritize work here? Yes, we could. And we do have individual quotes for the recabling effort, at least, for each of the different buildings.
Yeah, that's what I noticed here, where it says phase one is cabling the city hall, and that seems like to be the biggest issue.
That's, and that quote is for cabling of 4 buildings on the campus.
I'd like to see us coming up $17,000, a lot quicker than we can afford if we can get it done now. Get this building done now.
Yep, so, you know, you have a lot of that's interconnected, right? So the cabling portion of that is the plumbing, if you want to think of it that way. Then you have the switches and valves that are gonna change where everything points and how it flows in that second phase. The third phase is just the device that holds a lot of your data here that's running out of capacity.
That was when we originally did 3 phases instead of just giving them a lump sum and saying.
The first 2 phases are very intertwined. The redoing of the cable and the replacement of equipment in this building go hand in hand to achieve the performance. We'll see some performance increase by fixing the cabling. Doing the equipment at the other end would be premature. We can't put phase 2 ahead of phase 1 because we've got to fix the cabling before we improve the equipment over there. If we improve the equipment on the other side of this building, the cabling won't be able to handle the communication to it. So the first 2 phases really go hand in hand.
Now, we'll tell you this, I mean, if you have a budget number that you're comfortable with and saying, this is all we can put in this year's budget, figure out the best bang for the buck out of this collective for this amount, I mean, we can certainly work with Captain to figure out the most effective use of that and prioritize things accordingly.
Are there any other questions or comments?
We're gonna put this on the next meeting agenda, Ron.
I would like for it to be, yes.
I think if we're gonna do it, we might as well do it all. I mean, like I say, if you just do part of it, you just put a Band-Aid on part of it, you know, so you still have a problem somewhere.
I'll tell you what was the price, do all that,
It's $40,000.
but if you're going into something,
And you could have a slight variance. Don't anticipate one at this point.
but if you had one, just, I know you may not know it, I'm just asking the question.
So my estimation earlier was that it'd be no more than a single-digit variation, percentage-wise.
I am the, to reply to that a little bit more in detail, I'm the person that did the walkthrough of the 3 campuses, and I studied the networks at quite a level of detail, as well as my experience with this network goes back many, many years. I'm quite comfortable with these numbers. Very comfortable with these numbers because I took a very detailed look at the systems that are here, how this is tied to the other side of the building, the systems that attach this building to the internet, and then onto the police department, and also a detailed look at the police department. And then I looked at that in detail and I got with my manager, and we really crunched these numbers together. We are comfortable with these numbers.
And then including the courtroom too down here,
Yes, sir.
at one price.
Yep.
we're asking you to spend a lot of money.
Absolutely. And this is, we have looked very, very closely at this, and like most of you come forward.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Absolutely, thank you.
Let's be next week. Yes, it will be on the agenda next week. All right, we will now backtrack to old business. Item A, ordinance number 1005.
Ordinance number 1005, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, prohibiting the parking of personal recreational vehicles in commercial parking lots for more than 3 consecutive days.
Make motion approved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Do you have any comments or questions?
I read this thing, it says, if the citizen needs approval for longer than 3 days, and he has to come to the city manager to get it. So how much longer are we going to give them?
That goes.
I'd say it's not becoming a city manager, I think it come before the building inspector.
It was designed to come in from the city manager because that's how some of the ordinances that we have laid out already for extensions. That way it didn't have to come back for council. Now, if the city manager made that decision, generally it would come through us, we would explain to them the process, and then it would be a case-by-case basis. So if, say it had broken down and it was there for 3 days, but hey, we can't get it transported for 2 days. It's not something that's going to sit there permanently. So we don't expect or intend to get that often. Hopefully, if ever. If you'll notice, the ones that we've had issues with in the past are no longer where they were.
We do have one up next to the tunnel, and I noticed it, so I would call the name of the place, you know what I'm talking about. And now he's hooked his truck to it and put up posts, in front of my posts all across from it.
I'm not familiar with it, but if you'll let me know afterwards, we'll address that one also.
So is it going to be the city manager that gives the prior approval?
Yes. Yeah. I intend for us to work together, our department, whoever the city manager is, to discuss whatever the issues may come up, you know, as they plead their case.
Then he can allow any number of days as long as they both agree on it?
Yes. And then if it became an issue, of course, then we could go back and revisit that at a meeting, or however you would like to do that.
All right, any other comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Gravett?
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle?
Yes.
Councilmember Manning?
Yes.
Councilmember Sewell?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes. Item B, discussion of positions in administration and building codes departments.
Mr. Mayor, I'm
Yes,
the
sir.
one that asked to table this thing at the last meeting, and it was because I was wanting the job descriptions and stuff, and I haven't received them. I'd like to know what positions he's asking for, and, I'm gonna make a motion that we just leave it on the table till, we all get a copy of these job descriptions and everything, and how many positions he's asking for in administration, and how many's in the buildings codes, and
Okay. Well, we can entertain a motion to leave it on the table.
that's my motion, leave it on the table.
Second. We have a motion and a second to leave this on the table. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Gravett?
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle?
Yes.
Councilmember Manning?
No.
Councilmember Sewell?
No.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes.
Would like to see us have something next week on this, keep dragging this out. Coach got basically one person working. We need to get on the ball with this. Because I understand we haven't got what we're looking at, so we just need to get something for next week.
Can we be specific on what we're going to request from each department, admin and codes? Do you want job descriptions for everybody in codes department, job description for the new position being created?
What are you asking for?
To replace a codes inspector that already exists.
Negative. That already exists.
Create a position in administration.
Right. But they don't need my job descriptions for the codes, which that position already exists. That's not a new created position.
Well, I like to see it, because I don't know what it's being paid. And how many positions are we asking for in administration? One. We're asking how many in codes? One.
No,
We're
you're asking for one position, period.
One position.
So both of these are for coach department.
No, sir. We're asking for one position which is in administration, and it's an administrative position. What happens is we're moving a person out of codes that was in codes, been reassigned. We're going to reassign her to administration.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're doing is we're creating, the council will have to create a position in administration for her, or for this person.
And that leaves, then it
Opens
opens
a
up.
position in codes that is already there. We're not creating a position in codes, there's already a position there that this person occupied.
So then we took the person that you put up in the out of codes administration and took that position and put it back in the back in administration.
It's moved over to administration.
So,
So now you've actually created two administration positions.
Created one. The person that was up front was moved to the back,
Okay.
okay? To help out
So
with,
we created a position for her in the back
You're gonna get.
because she was a receptionist.
yeah, she can still do the same thing, but what we're doing is moving a person over from codes over to administration.
So we've got somebody right now in codes working in administration. The girl that's working in administration, she's still in administration,
Getting paid
but she
out
got
of
moved
codes.
to the back. So creating administration job opens up the codes job.
It's moving
So we want to hire one person.
one person.
Okay. That's the one we need the job description.
Okay.
but you're asking us to create a position for someone that has already been determined is going to get the job. It will not be advertised. Is that what you're asking?
We can advertise it internally. We can still advertise it internally.
But you've already made your decision on who's going to get it. is what I'm
She's
hearing.
moving out of codes. This person's moving out of codes, period.
Okay.
Now, as far as with the charter reads, the city manager can move employees around anywhere he deems necessary. Okay, and he can change their, add to the job description. In this case, that's what I did. No,
But there wasn't a position there to move her to, so that's what you're asking.
basically.
Is this job position being created just to keep someone on the job?
No, I mean, she's got this person has a position now. Technically, she's assigned a coach, she's getting paid through the coach. This,
How much will this person get paid if you move it?
I don't know, we need to do all the details about this person's issues
So-
or anything like that with that person.
So it sounds like, to kind of boil everything down, we're looking at the possibility of creating one position in administration, which would free up an existing position in codes. And we need a job description for the administrative position.
So let me ask you this, where are we at on hiring a new city treasurer? Because I think that position is daggum important. We're focusing on this one position, but I've not heard discussion in months for a new city treasurer.
Councilman, I've not heard anything about a city treasurer since y'all wanted to talk to the city auditor, you want to talk to MTask and get their opinions, and after that,
Oh,
the council,
I've got their opinion.
council didn't make any decision for me to go forward on hiring a city treasurer. The council seemed to have wanted to stay around and wait on the new city manager to make that decision. So, I've not went anywhere with it.
Well, I've made my position clear, on as far as filling these other vacancies, and, I just,
Larry, you were gonna say something? We
Well,
started to, I think.
Yeah, well, in our meeting we had, with the, auditor that day, you know, I asked him point blank about, and he suggested we didn't really need a treasurer, we had somebody that could do the job, we needed a city planner. And I don't think you were there at that meeting, Mark, you made it clear.
I think it sounds like, obviously there are a lot of needs, and I think if possible, obviously we're not gonna, I don't think we'll be able to do it between now and next week, but I think we need to have a workshop to determine what exactly we want in terms of positions going forward. And that doesn't have to impact item B here, but I think it would be good to figure out where in the world are we gonna.
Well, you know, if
Going
we're
to go in
not,
terms of the city treasurer position, and are we gonna look at adding a planner or something like that?
we basically got one person working code. He's a codes guy too, but he's also a fire marshal. So you've got Brad, basically, that's it, with all the buildings we got going on. And more to come. And they can't do it anymore. I mean, Brad, you go talk to Brad, he's at wit's end.
I don't have a problem hiring someone else in codes. I don't think we need anyone else in administration. That's what I'm saying.
We need to take her back out, put her back in codes, and if you don't want to hire somebody, we're gonna lose the people we got if we don't give them some help.
And I have talked to Brad myself. Right now, he's burning, those things, he's burning the candles on both ends, Mayor, and he's about to run to death.
Well,
We do need to
so is everybody else in the city. It's not just Brad. It's not just Michael. It's not just Mike. It's not just me. We all know this has been a problem for years. It's finally coming to a head. There was no building going on for 20 years. Nothing happened. All right? Now everything in the world's going on. And if we don't make these contractors happy, they're not going to be contractors at the end of the day.
I agree. Like I said, I don't have a problem, making a position for somebody else in codes. Not a problem in the world.
You know, 2 years ago, we brought this up council meeting, and I said it 2 years ago. I said our code enforcement is gonna have to be staffed double what it is now. Our public safety, fire and police, and other services that we have is so understaffed that when all this starts busting loose, all this new development starts coming in, we're gonna be behind.
But what's the one consistency that I've always asked for in hiring these people, especially in codes? Qualified people that meet the qualifications. That's the one thing I've asked for.
And I've done that since I've been in this position. I've not hired anybody that's not been qualified for any position.
So this, based on the action that was just taken a few minutes ago, we have left this on the table until next week. Except I don't think this is such late notice, it would be hard to get a workshop together between now and then. I would like to get a workshop together as quickly as possible so that we can talk about all of these issues. I think, and frankly, I wanted to kind of wait until the budget process started, but I would be in favor of, department heads, if you've got needs, tell the council what those needs are. We may not be able to help. We'll do what we can, but, let us know so that we can start building, okay, if we need 8 new positions scattered amongst several different departments, maybe we can do 3 this year, this next budget year, and we'll put a plan in place for doing the rest. We'll get where we need to go. We need to have a plan to do that. So that would be what I would like to see.
Mayor, can we run this coach jobs next week, or post it tomorrow internal, see if we might have a city employee that might be interested in it? And then that could be done between now and next Thursday, see if we have an employee that's already here that would be interested in it.
In the coach position?
Yes, sir. Because we're not creating that position, that's the position we're gonna hire. So if we have somebody, say, in, street department, wants to transfer out street department into the codes, that might be qualified.
I don't have a problem with it, but I think we would need some legal guidance on how we would go forward. And that would be ideal. But, yeah, exactly how we need to move forward and meet our requirements under the law. I think that would be, again, much needed.
I asked a question about all things. City manager had heard me though. Do you know what it will cost us to hire somebody in codes? You have any idea? Which you may not have.
I don't know, I'll get those figures. I'll have all those figures. I'll bring that.
I've got no problem hiring. We need somebody in codes.
If we decide to hire another code enforcement officer, I'll have that also.
But like he said, we're short in all departments.
Thank you. New business, item A, ordinance number 1006.
Ordinance number 1006, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, to amend ordinance number 989, entitled an ordinance to provide revenue for the City of East Ridge, Tennessee for the fiscal year July 1, 2015 to July 30, 2016, appropriating the same to the payment of expenses of the municipal government by designating a portion of the fund balances of the general fund and DOJ federal forfeiture fund, and by changing the revenue of the grant fund, and by changing the expenditures of the general fund, grant fund, and DOJ federal forfeiture fund.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Abbott?
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle?
Yes.
Councilmember Manning?
Yes.
Councilmember Sewell?
Yes.
Mayor Lambert?
Yes. Motion is approved. Item B, resolution 2544.
Resolution number 2544, a resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the City of East Ridge to approve the attached change order from Reagan Smith in regards to the LPRF grant.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this had been left off the original contract. The survey is needed for the grant, it's required by the state. And I do have Reagan Smith here, Terry Reynolds, if you have any questions as to the type of survey it is, but it is something that we do need to add to the contract. And it is our responsibility as far as cost, it's not reimbursable.
I have one question. Is this survey going to include a half court basketball court, or is it going to include a full court?
No, that was taken off of the agenda, it's just for the
I
half court.
understand that, but he might as well do the survey if we're going to go back to a full court.
If you all want to, yes, that is, if you want us to do
So
that,
right
we
now, it's a
can.
half court.
Right now, it's for anything that we want, it's just a total survey. I think Gary can answer that a little bit better maybe than I can as far as what it does, what the survey is. I think it's just topographical, it's not really as far as the amenities.
Well, that could change on a popular survey after on a full court and half court.
It can. And Terry, do you want to come up here and,
My recommendation, and it came this week, with everything that we've got to spend money on, whether it be the Camp Jordan Parkway and other things that we have, is that we don't spend any more money on a full court, basketball court, or more than one tennis court, and not worried about the fencing right now. The bottom line is, from the first time that we decided that we were going to do it at Monroe Park, and then Walmart bought Monroe Park, that money was used for something else. It wasn't funded into this grant or to help out with it at all. So what I think we need to do is keep it as low cost as we can, because neither the basketball court nor the tennis court fits with our plan to go forward at Camp Jordan anyway. We're just putting it somewhere to get a grant, to keep from having to go back to the state and turn it down and never get a grant again.
So, Mr. Mayor, if I may,
Sure.
are you finished?
I was going to answer about topography survey.
Right, there are really two primary issues on the topography surveys, and that is to make sure that whatever you're doing is going to drain adequately. And the second thing is that you have wheelchair accessible access from a parking space to whatever improvements you're putting in. And so that kind of thing is not really dependent on whether this is a half court or a full court. That really won't have much impact on the survey itself, because it's the site where it's going, not how much of a footprint the particular item has within reason, I guess. The third thing that only affects the restroom had to do with the floodplain. That was one that we looked into relocating where it had been proposed to be located, so it would not require so much fill to get the floor of the restroom out of the, what they call base flood elevation, BFE.
So the base of the restroom would have been as high as the top of the pavilion and would have sat next to the pavilion. So basically you'd be sitting there eating your hamburger looking up at the restroom.
So this is the grant that we've been talking about for a year? That's
Yes, sir.
got
Sure
the walking track and all that?
Yes,
That's
sir.
still in
Yeah,
there?
the walking track, the way we're doing the walking track, we're not actually using a full walking track because we don't need an actual walking track because we've got a 2-mile walking track at Camp Jordan. The two things we need out of this grant more than anything else at Camp Jordan is another restroom and we need the dog park. Those are the two things we need.
So the dog park's in here too?
The dog park's in here too. The walking track, the way that Terry and I have worked that out, is you'll only be putting a track down the side of the road outside of the amphitheater lot. And you'll walk on the asphalt everywhere except go do a crush run down through there. This will allow mamas to walk around that area while their kids are playing, whether it be the amphitheater area or be down at the playground, and not be that far away from their kids being out of eyesight. So that's what we've done to that. Then we've got, like I said, there was one basketball court, which would have been great if it was up at Monroe Park. We don't need a basketball court at Camp Jordan. And then, but we've got to put it in, we've got to find a place to put it, and we have. And we're going forward with that. But when I found out that we were going to have more money to do this week I sent out an email to everybody and said, let's don't spend any more money on the full basketball court. Let's don't spend any more money on another tennis court or the fencing right now. That might be something I can put in the budget later on, or something I can use our budget to do. Let's hold back on what we're spending, and that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to hold back on spending.
Tennis court still in it?
One tennis court, which we hope to build it to where it'll be pickle court and tennis court.
And all of this too, gentlemen, has to be approved by the state. So when they move the restroom on the plans and any other plans that was not already approved, it's going to have to go back to the state before.
How much is this grant for?
$200,000. We are responsible for $100,000, and the state gives us $100,000.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor?
Sure.
Thank you. The dog park is still in.
Yes, sir.
The 4 tennis courts are out.
There never was for
The basketball court is out.
half court was what it originally was supposed to be, and we asked for it to be moved to a full court when it was going to be at Monroe Park.
Are all of the restrooms, the descriptions here of the restrooms, are they still in?
There's just one.
And the walking path, is it still in?
Yes, sir.
You're making all these changes. How is this going to affect our qualifying for the grant? I mean, if we laid out all of these plans and now we're making all these changes, are we still going to get the grant?
We've already got the grant. You went with me up there to get it.
Okay, that's right. They presented the check.
Yeah, we've already
in
got
Nashville.
that.
But how is that? I mean, we're making drastic changes here. Are we still going to qualify for the grant, or we're going to have to give the money back to the state?
What's going to happen is, if with the restroom, that will be able to explain and say, we're not able to put it in this area because of the flood zone. it has to be moved. That helps us with the engineering, so that will probably be approved. As far as any other changes, what has already been submitted to the state will probably have to stay the same. They're very cautious on too many changes, because we basically started.
That's what I'm getting at.
Right, we basically started over from Monroe Park. Probably should maybe have been moved to Springville Park, since it was a similar size and area, and we wouldn't have had to make so many changes.
It is still in flood zone.
It's still in the flood zone, but it probably wouldn't have been as.
And that was discussed, but the council wasn't, they didn't want to do that at that time.
I'll be honest with you, I think it ought to be paid out of Parks and Rec, but
Now, their match is, I think their match is either that or it's coming out of my
I'm
grant.
talking about the survey, $5,000. I think it should,
Yeah, it'll have to come out of some.
I think it should be paid out of Parks and Rec's budget. That's what I think.
And if they don't have the money, we do have the grants budget to pay from as well, but I agree with you on that.
What's that in
So,
Parks
so
and
you
Rec?
wouldn't need any further, you're not looking for any further money from us.
As far as I
You're
know.
just looking for where it's gonna come from, Parks and Rec budget or the grant budget.
Now, this is additional money, it's $49.50.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, there should be no additional funds, since they took out the addition of the half court and the fencing for the tennis court that was on another, resolution. That would have been extra money that we've had to come out of the budget, so,
You're not asking us for this survey money though?
yes.
You are?
Survey money,
Okay,
we
we're
have.
misunderstanding each other then.
Okay, yes, what we're looking at right now is the survey for the levy. That is the only extra money that should be coming out from this grant, because everything else that was discussed, that Mr. Martin was just discussing, has been removed. And as far as I know, unless there's something else that comes up when we start building, there should not be any extra funds coming out.
Surely there ought to be money in the Parks and Rec budget for this, I would think.
I haven't looked, the only numbers I have are from December, so I haven't looked yet as far as where it could come out of their budget. But if for some reason they don't have the funds, I do have a grants budget fund for expenditures like this.
In other words, you're saying we're gonna have to take it out of Parks and Rec.
We're gonna have to
You
take
got a
some.
grant, we'll take care of it.
It's not a grant, we have a fund, it's for like when I need matches and things for grants. So if for some reason Parks and Recreation does not have the funds, I should have enough in that fund to take care of that.
Do you have,
I mean, what we can do is we can take it and not do something that we had planned on doing. We can do that if Mr. Crackett wants to do that, but it's gonna take away from something else that we had going, but that's fine. The reason I dropped this back was because I wanted to save the council money and not spend the extra money on this, so I'm
But that's
fine
what
if
this is,
it comes
that's
out
what
of
this
my.
is doing though.
What now?
This is spending extra money.
I think
I've got a reason.
Yeah, but that's a law that we've gotta do this. That has nothing to do with anything we've done.
we've got two separate issues
We're
here.
dealing with
The 4950 we're talking about now, we have to do, or
Because it's
the
part of
grant
it.
doesn't happen.
Exactly right.
And it was not calculated in on the front
Correct.
end.
It was not that, former staff had taken that out on purpose, was what I was told, because they felt that they didn't need it. And when we come back with a grant, they said, yes, you do. And that's part of the stipulation. Diane, I think she has, already calculated where the 4950 is coming from, didn't you?
Well, I have an engineering line in the general fund. We also can look at an option in the grant fund, or if they direct me to take it from somewhere else, we can do that.
I just don't feel like it should come out of the general fund. I think it should be, if it's going to be used for Parks and Rec, I think it should be used for Parks and Rec.
Well,
That,
it'll still technically come out of general fund because we run Parks and Recreation
That-
out of
that-
general fund.
that-
But I
Good point, and I tried to change that last budget
Yeah,
too. So,
Yeah, so technically, but it's wherever I'm directed to take it from. It will be on the next, I will incorporate it into this budget amendment ordinance that we're doing right now, that y'all just did on first reading, that you will not do on second reading next week because we've got to have 13 days. So it'll come up in March.
And she and I can look at Parks and Rec's budget to see where they're at right now and find a line item that it could fit into.
If you take the 5,000 out of Parks and Rec, Is that gonna take something away that you had going?
I tell you what, Councilmember Sewell, I'll be more than happy, Mr. Gravitt, Councilmember Gravitt, I'll be more than happy to find $5,000 and take it out of the Parks and Rec. I have no problem with that at all. Y'all can count that done.
And the other part of what we're talking about is if we had gone with a full basketball court and a tennis court with a fence around it, it would have run us over the $100,000 that we had obligated to spend. And that's what has been pulled from tonight, and likely that we will not spend that money.
And let me say this too, our city treasurer and our past city manager, while we were doing this project and we were doing the paving, not the paving, but the grading and everything over there, we discussed at that time that we could take that money and put that money back into in-kind of everything that we were doing. But because we went, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Ms. Miller, because we went ahead of schedule and didn't wait, we can't do that now.
I guess I'm kind of confused on the question. I know that when we applied for the grant for Monroe Park and Monroe Park was sold, Michael Frickson with Southeast Tennessee Development District, he's the one that's working on the grant with me as far as the paperwork is concerned. He had to go back to the state and basically redo the entire grant because we had to move it somewhere. Staff, and this was at a time that I was out due to surgery, they decided to put it at Camp Jordan Park. So he had to make a map, move things to where staff felt that it needed to go, and state approved those items within the grant. Anything extra of those items has to come from the city because they will not approve an extra restroom or an extra half court or fencing or anything else. So what we applied for is all we can get, and we can't leave any elements out. So whereas Mr. Martin was saying that we really didn't need the courts down there, unfortunately, we have to put them in. So there is no running out of money and unfortunately not putting it in, it has to go in.
So
And
we're
any
gonna-
changes have to be approved.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah,
We're gonna have
we understand that.
tennis court with no fence.
Tennis court, one tennis court with no fence. One half basketball court with no fence.
That was
Let me
what
ask
was
this,
submitted.
let me ask this
Why would
question.
you
So
not put a
if
fence on a tennis court?
We don't have the money to do it.
let me backtrack for just a minute. If we just
More interest.
tell the state, we're returning the money. Am I understanding correctly that basically they will not consider us for a future grant?
No, that's not.
That's not necessarily true.
But we do need to let them know now if that's the case. Any money that we've spent.
I think there needs to be a real consideration here.
I agree.
We're trying to ram a square
Put
peg in a round
stuff
hole.
this, that, and the other, just to get the money. We'd be better off just building a restroom ourselves.
Correct.
And a dog park.
We could build a dog park and put 2 restrooms down there for $100,000.
Well, yeah,
But that would,
right.
but we still would have to, with engineering, you would have to still find a place within the park to put those restrooms. It can't,
Understand
be level like the picnic pavilion.
Right.
They would have to go, engineering wise, as far as floodplains and things. But.
I ain't saying putting something that you don't really want to put, but you gotta do it, really. I mean,
When we met up
you
there
got a
that
tennis
day
court,
in
you got a
Monroe
tennis
Park,
court, you gonna be chasing balls all day long down there.
we met that day in Monroe Park and there was council members there, there's some other people there, and we made a decision to go and fill that hole. And we made a decision to move forward, and we were talking about, I won't go into who was there and all that, but we were talking about what we were going to do, and we were going to go forward with Monroe Park. When Walmart bought that, everything changed. And as the mayor said, we've been trying to put a square peg in a round hole ever since. And I think it would be a great idea to see how much money it would cost, because we got to pay Mr. Reynolds and those folks, and then move forward and let me go talk to April, let me go talk to Gerald and say, look, this just didn't work. Because this has gone on now, this is over 2 years, and we still don't have anything. And we all know when we change that restroom, it's going to be another 6 months.
I think it's definitely something to consider. to do that, hate to give grant money back, but if it creates more problems than it solves, you've got to question it at some point.
I'd rather take $10,000 out of my budget and build a dog park than I had to take $5,000 of it to put something out there that we don't need. That make sense?
Mm-hmm. And I think a dog park is extremely, it is needed.
I do too. I'm 100% behind you.
Would council prefer me to ask the state to see what changes we can make, to see if there's anything we can omit, anything we can move around before deciding to give the money back?
That would be
Or
very
even
good.
see if we can move locations?
What type of modifications?
That makes sense.
Yes.
I'll contact them.
And did you say you could talk to somebody too, Mr. White?
Well, let her go. I mean, if she wants to go and talk to them, that's fine. I was going to go talk to April and Gerald, who I work with on a regular basis, who are making decisions and who gets the grants and all that. In fact, I think that Ms. Qualls her family used to work with Mr. Parrish. So we're all pretty close, but that's fine. We're fine with that. She does a good job. I trust her. We're all in this together.
So based on this discussion,
Can we just have this go to the next meeting?
I think that would be wise to table this.
So we get all the information to us.
Exactly right.
I make a motion to table it, we get all the information.
We have a motion to table. We have a second. Roll call, please. Motion to table.
Councilmember Griffith.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Stoll.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes.
I'll try to make sure I have that all together by next meeting for you.
Mayor, council, thank y'all so much. I'll work with you however you want to on this.
I knew you could find that $5,000. I knew you had it in you.
I held it long as I could.
All right. Item C was removed earlier. We've already addressed item D. Item E, discussion of the county's donation of benches and signage. This is something that the county has gotten a grant. You may have seen some of the billboards around that talk about mayors for a smoke-free community, just encouraging people, nothing mandatory about, you can't smoke here or whatever, but there is signage and benches that go along with that program, and the county would like to give us some of those. And we just need to approve accepting those.
I'll make a motion to accept the officer benches. Signage.
Benches and signage. Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Griffith.
Please step out. Sorry.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Stoll.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes. All right, final item, item F. Asked for this to be placed on here as well. Discussion of the city zip code. We have mentioned this in the past. 40 years ago, whenever it was, when they were designating zip codes, a mistake was made for East Ridge, and we are listed with the post office as 37412. The default city that is attached to that zip code is Chattanooga. So you see it show up in a wide number of ways. That's why when you pull a mailing list and you send postcards to someone in East Ridge, the address label actually says Chattanooga, because that's what the Postal Service has. Now they've got, if you go on the Postal Service website, do a zip code search on 37412, it will say default location Chattanooga, so that's the automatic location, in other words. Acceptable alternative, East Ridge. I would like to get those flip-flopped. Can we have East Ridge as the default and Chattanooga as the acceptable alternative? 37412 zip code it has 21,000 people in it. 20,500 of those are East Ridge. There's a small little nook up off of John Ross Road that's Chattanooga that has 37412 zip code. The vast majority of the people affected are East Ridge people. And here's a really good example of how this issue impacts us. Not only do you see it with mail, but things like this. This is the Times Free Press newspaper from Sunday's newspaper. Real estate transactions. Chattanooga, there's Chattanooga listed, Hickson, Soddy Daisy, Ooltewah. All of those places have their own zip code associated with them, but because our zip code is actually Chattanooga, the East Ridge transactions are listed under Chattanooga. So if you ever find an East Ridge listing in here, you'll be lucky. There's $1.6 million worth of real estate transactions that actually occurred in East Ridge, but they're listed under Chattanooga. So if I'm just a casual observer and I never see East Ridge listed in this, my perception of the East Ridge housing market, whatever, is going to be, boy, it stinks. Because they never have any transactions in there. That's just one thing. You know, one thing of many.
Our businesses everywhere, if we change.
How can we get that changed?
The businesses actually won't be affected. In terms of them having to change anything, stationery or anything like that, the number would stay the same. I would simply like the opportunity to explore what we need to do with the Postal Service to get it changed. And again, if you mail something to Chattanooga, Tennessee 37412, if we do what I'm talking about and make that Chattanooga an acceptable alternative for that zip code rather than the default, it'll still get delivered. There will be no problem. But East Ridge is what will show up. You think about other things, real estate listings. If you're this hits us in terms of economic development. If you're looking for a site and you search by zip code and all you see are these Chattanooga listings and you don't really see East Ridge, you can get a very skewed idea of what's available in East Ridge. So it hits us in a number of potential ways, and I would just like to, again, explore the possibility, how do we have East Ridge move to the default location?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Did you already discuss the tax issue
I did
with
not.
the rave?
I did not. Please do.
Okay. Yeah, this is one area where we had an increase in the sales tax of $100 and something thousand. It's because the rave and a couple of the stores over there in that strip center that are actually located in East Ridge, their zip code pops up at the state as being Chattanooga. For years, Chattanooga was getting the rave sales tax. And only last year did the city treasurer make that discovery, or was it Kim? Okay. Okay. It wasn't Kim. She's shaking her head now. Thaddeus Blonsky. The city of Chattanooga has received hundreds of thousands of dollars of our sales tax. We were able to recoup 1 year, and that's all that we were able to recoup. They would not give us any of the previous years for our sales tax. So I'm wholeheartedly support the mayor's effort in trying to get that zip code situation resolved.
Does that mean we can still leave Bingo Road?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with renaming anything. It's just getting East Ridge attached to that zip code officially. And again, it makes sense with 99% Yeah, exactly. Make us the primary and Chattanooga is an acceptable alternative rather than the opposite. You look at it, I looked up, Saudi Daisy, city roughly half our population. They have 37379, I think. And so, they're listed right here. They've got their own zip code, and so they don't have these issues. And I just think it makes sense in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I had a discussion with some folks the other day, and on the flood situation. And he was looking at it, he said, this can't be East Ridge. The zip code said this is City of Chattanooga. I said, no, it ain't. It's East Ridge, Tennessee, 37412. He said, I didn't want to tell me. I don't care what tells you, I'm telling you, we are East Ridge, period. And I said, that's what you put on it. He didn't like it too much, but I told him that's what you will put on it. You don't, I'll send it back to him.
Yeah, and you see that kind of thing all the time, and it's hard to see progress in these areas when you're considered part of Chattanooga and you're really not. So, that's all I'm looking for basically is the
We have our
opportunity
grace to go in.
to explore this option and see what we can do.
You have a motion, second on that?
Please.
I'll make a motion, go ahead and change it, as long as we're not changing the name ring on the road or anything else. I'll make the motion.
All right. All right. We have a motion and we have a second. Okay. Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Manning.
Yes.
Councilmember Sewell.
Yes.
Mayor Lambert.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn, if there's no further than.
Thank you all for being here this evening.